Welcome everyone to the release kickoff for milestone 16.1. My name is David DeSanto. I lead product here. I will be your host today on our kickoff live stream. And I'm also 100% certain I am not Justin Ferris wearing a bald cap, glasses, and a fake beard. So joining me today on our live stream are some amazing members of our product team in the order which they'll be presenting. Hillary Benson, Senior Director of Product Management and President's Club award-winning member of the product leadership team, will be going over the stack updates. Tara McCaslin, Group Product Manager, will be going over the data science section updates. Josh Lambert, Director of Product, will be going over our enablement updates. Melissa Ushakov, Group Manager for Plan, will be going over the dev section updates. And last and definitely not least, Jackie Porter, Director of Product Management, will be going over our updates for ops, focused on verify, package, and deploy. We are focused on delivering value iteratively against our FY24 product themes. They are build a world-class DevSecOps experience that includes a focus on usability, improving collaboration, and AI-assisted workflows, providing advanced security and compliance functionality, bringing software supply chain security to the forefront of software development, observability, analytics, and feedback, empowering organizations to close the SDLC loop with user data, and finally, GitLab for data science, enabling data scientists and data engineers to work collaboratively side by side within GitLab with their DevSec and Ops counterparts, giving them collaboration, reproducibility, and streamlined deployments. Before I hand it over to Hillary, I'm going to read off our little disclaimer. On this live stream, we will be discussing our product roadmap, including upcoming features and functionality. It is important to note that these are presented to you for informational purposes only. Please do not rely on them for planning or purchasing decisions. We plan very ambitiously here at GitLab, and the content on this live stream is subject to change. All timing of products, features, and functionality remain at the sole discretion of GitLab. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, Hillary, please make the kickoff call fun with your updates.
All right, thanks, David. I will do my best. Let's see, let me share out my screen real quick. All right, so as David mentioned, I'm going to be going over the SEC section updates. So SEC team has a bunch of good stuff going on this milestone. So first of all, the security policies team is working on supporting additional filters for scan result policies. So they're going to be adding the ability to filter on status, on age, on whether a fix is available for a given vulnerability, whether a vulnerability has been identified as a false positive. So those are the four main filters that they're adding this milestone. The security policies team is also working on allowing scan execution policies to create pipelines. So this is part of a longer term effort to combine security policies and compliance pipeline functionality, which the idea behind that is to provide the user experience of security policies, which is a nice configurable experience in the UI, with the flexibility of compliance pipelines, where with using compliance pipelines, there's a lot of customizable things that you can do in the pipeline from a security perspective. And so this milestone to allow scan execution policies to create pipelines is sort of one critical step in that direction. The threat insights team is working this milestone to mature the explain this vulnerability feature. That's a feature that leverages generative AI to explain vulnerabilities and common approaches to fixing vulnerabilities as part of the MR experience. So specifically this milestone, the team's going to be adding extended coverage for this feature to include vulnerabilities beyond just SAST vulnerabilities, which is where we started. Threat Insights team is also working to deliver an MVC of the group and subgroup level dependency list. This is precisely what it sounds like. So today you can view dependencies only on a project level, which can be very difficult for large organizations that have a lot of projects to manage. And so the ability to view all dependencies across an entire group or subgroup makes management or managing this much easier. And so that work is scheduled to actually ship next milestone, but the team's working on it this milestone. The static analysis team is working on including SAS findings inline in the diff view. So basically the idea here is you can view vulnerabilities as part of the MR experience, but for SAS vulnerabilities specifically, where you might have a specific line of code that needs to be fixed, that's kind of nice to be able to view in the diff view within the MR workflow. And so the first thing that we're doing here is including SAS vulnerabilities in the diff view, and that's part of a larger effort to redesign the overall merge request experience for security specifically. Composition analysis team expects to deliver an MVC of continuous vulnerability scanning this milestone. So this capability is pretty cool. This will remove reliance on the CI pipeline to gain visibility into vulnerabilities that you have on your dependencies. So instead of requiring the user to go into a pipeline or trigger a pipeline to run in order to discover new vulnerabilities, continuous vulnerability scanning will basically in the background automatically update the system anytime a new vulnerability gets published or if your code changes. And you don't really have to interact with that at all. So the team expects to deliver this capability next or in this milestone, and then they'll move on to container scanning in a future release. And then finally, the compliance team is working on delivering instance level streaming audit events. And so today, instance level audit events are only accessible in the UI. So this work will help to drive consistency in being able to stream audit events across all of your audit event types. And that is it for SEC.
Awesome, very cool. Excited to see generative AI and security, Hillary. My name is Taylor McCass, and I'm a group manager for data science. I'm going to start by talking about anti-abuse. Hillary, if you could stop your share, I can share.
I am attempting to. I'm so sorry. For some reason.
For anti-abuse, I'm not going to bring up any specific issues. We are actively working on instance resiliency. We're continuing to release features like identity verification and now moving to rate limits. For reasons that are obvious with battling abuse, we're not going to share details about how we're doing that, but know that we are working to manage abuse and spam on GitLab.com and making that better for all users. Now moving to model ops, specifically our AI assisted capabilities. We have released code suggestions more widely. It's now available to all GitLab tiers while in beta. We're making many different improvements to this functionality to both increase usage as well as stabilize the service. Highlights that I want to talk about include additional IDE support for code suggestions. This will include support for JetBrains IntelliJ-based IDEs. We're also adding support for Visual Studio. We'll be enhancing the existing VS Code extension. All of these will help make code suggestions more available to more users. We're also continuously evaluating and improving the model. We have now moved to a weekly release of the ML model that powers code suggestions. Right now, as we speak, that model is being trained on GPUs. Every week we'll release a new update to this. We're experimenting with many different machine learning techniques to improve the quality of code suggestions. That list of ideas is kind of endless, and we continue with those. We're also improving the scalability and stability of code suggestions continuously. This includes a lot of infrastructure readiness work to make code suggestions ready for more users. One thing that I will just mention is that code suggestions is in beta, and due to high demand, this feature will have unscheduled downtime or reduced or increased latency. It may also produce low quality or incomplete suggestions. We're working to improve that stability and quality continuously. And then finally, moving to one last item for our model ops, ML ops capabilities. We are actively building our model registry, as we've talked about previously. The model registry is going to help customers manage machine learning models directly within GitLab. If you're familiar with GitLab package management or container registry, this will work very similar to that, just for machine learning models. We're hoping to have a beta of this in early access in the next month or so but this is actively being built. That gives you a quick overview of how we're improving our DevSecOps experience with code suggestions and making it easier to manage machine learning on GitLab.
Awesome. Thanks, Taylor. I will take over and start talking about the wonderful things that we are working on over in enablement. And so here is our quick highlights. We have two main themes we're working on this month, which is world-class DevOps and maintenance. And we'll get started with world-class DevOps here. And with the search team, we are continuing our work to swap out Elasticsearch for Zoot, which is a significantly better search engine for code. And so we'll keep Elasticsearch for all the other content types and natural language, but for code, Zoot does a much better job. And so right now we are working towards our opt-in beta. And so you can see we're doing some work here, and that way you'll be able to opt in your group on .com and be able to see the benefits of Zoot. And we got some initial work that we are working on right now for the GitLab-org project, and we have some great results. For example, a code search that used to take 500 milliseconds to complete now takes 71 milliseconds to complete, and the results are more complete and accurate than they were before. So some great proof points there from Zoot, and we're excited to have this roll out more broadly. Over on the application performance team, we are working to take all that amazingness that Taylor and team are working on for code suggestions, and we are working to extend that so that our self-managed and dedicated customers can also use it. So we are working right now pretty early on this, and we're doing some design and architecture work, but we have, I think, a good model going forward here that we can continue to drive forward on, and we'll be doing this in partnership with the code suggestions team as far as how things like authentication work and things like that. But overall, that's what this team is working on, and we hope to have this available in the near future here. Next up, over to our Geo team, we are working to continue our efforts on silent mode. Silent mode works in tandem or in parallel with maintenance mode. Maintenance mode prevents changes. Silent mode will prevent communication outbound or otherwise actions being taken on your instance. This is great for doing things like validation of backups so that your kind of test instance there doesn't go out and do things. And also if you do like a failover test, without necessarily taking down the primary, your secondary won't also start duplicating events as well. So we have some things already being silenced, if you will, here, but there's more work to be done on other types of events that we want to make sure do not occur on these secondaries. Continuing on the theme of backup and restore, we are working to improve our documentation for self-managed customers, in particular those on hybrid and cloud-native architectures that happen to use Git cluster. The main reason why is that with Git cluster, you cannot take advantage of snapshots, or it's not recommended to do so. And so that's a great common pattern for when you're using normal Git or sharded Git. But with cluster, because of the statefulness, you can't do that. And so we are updating our documentation to provide a recommended path forward and how to run backups with cluster on cloud native hybrid architectures so that you can actually successfully back up your instances. So looking forward to that being available. And then moving over to our tenant scale team, we are continuing our work on organizations. Organizations will provide a stronger set of isolation for our customers on GitLab.com in particular. And right now we are working on some of the very foundational components, things like routing and initially establishing the entity within the code base so we can build on top of this in the future. Continuing on from there in tenant scale, we are working towards its second iteration for cells. Cells is a new architecture for GitLab.com, which will allow us to more horizontally scale our service so you can provide better resilience and overall greater scale for our SaaS services. And so we are working on iteration 2, which will allow the users to create a group on the second cell with users shared between cells. So we are continuing our efforts there as well. And we're over in the maintenance area now for the theme, and we can talk about what work Gitly is doing. And for them, they are working on implementing write-ahead logging. What this does is it provides an ability for us to log out all the actions or writes that are taking place on a Gitly instance. And we can then use that for two important reasons. The first one is that we can use it for our upcoming new synchronization methods for Gitly cluster to remove the need for a database, which is awesome. And then also it will serve as an important component of allowing customers to improve the restore point objective, or how long backups take, because you can take a backup and then as long as you have the write-ahead log, you can actually replay it and get a much more recent set of events than you would otherwise by taking a backup, every, say, like 5 minutes. So this will help for both of those reasons. We're very excited about it. We're also working to improve what's called object pools in Gitly. This will allow all of our customers to improve the storage efficiency for things in particular like forks by better handling relationships and handling where we create forks as well. And so this will help to reduce overall disk utilization for all GitLab customers. And then moving on to our database group, we are continuing our work on overall partitioning. This is helpful to reduce primarily CPU consumption on our databases across all of our instances, but in particular on GitLab.com, which, as you can see, has some very large tables. And by reducing the table size, by partitioning it, we can significantly reduce the overall CPU consumption utilized when using these tables. And last but not least, in the database group here, we are working to overall, convert from smaller primary keys into big-ins to allow those tables to continue to grow. This is for all of our customers, but the first one that will is interested in this is, of course, GitLab.com as being the largest that we know of. And so we are continuing to move through and partition more tables. Convert these tables over to big-ins, and so that these tables can continue to grow for a very, very long time in the future. And finally, here with distribution, we are continuing to work on overall the distribution efficiency improvements. The goal here is to allow our pipelines to complete in a shorter amount of time so we can iterate more quickly, as well as also be more easily to consume and maintain. So this will improve the efficiency of our distribution group and anyone contributing to overall our distribution pipelines and tooling. And so that's it on the enablement group. And with that, I'll pass it over to Jackie to take us through all the amazing things in ops.
Thanks, Josh. Really appreciate all the things that your team is doing. I know they're going to make a big difference for us. As a quick introduction, David mentioned that the ops section, and I'm presenting it on behalf of it. The ops section contains all of the experiences of enabling developers to effectively leverage configuration and operation tasks inside of GitLab. We have a whole ton of work that we're going to be shipping in 16.1. First up, our theme under world-class DevSecOps experience. We have several great improvements coming. The first step is going to be our runner core team contributing 2 runner fleeting plugins for AWS EC2 instances and Azure VMs. Both of these features will help support our runner auto-scaling capability in GitLab. They will enable self-managed customers to be able to auto-scale runner fleets in response to CI/CD workloads instead of just having runners being idle and then saturated with jobs as we go. This is going to be a really nice feature to help improve build efficiency in our self-managed customers. Another investment our Verify stage will be taking on is to support a common use case in development, which is fast forward merge. This helps keep your commit history clean without omitting important information during your development process. Today, merge trains does not support fast forward merge, and this first feature will be a step and a critical piece to begin supporting fast forward merge with merge trains in GitLab. This has been a massively requested issue, and it'll be exciting to be able to support that use case for our merge trains users. This milestone, our deploy stage, is continuing to make progress on the Flux integration for our GitOps workflow. They're going to be adding continuous integration support for triggering Flux deployments, which will bring together GitOps tools into CI/CD, delivering that continuous surface for CI tools between GitLab and GitOps tools. The way this will work is it will create a CI/CD job that will represent the Flux deployment, helping us to seamlessly integrate your GitOps tools and your CI/CD processes. It's well known that GitOps tools tend to live outside of your CI processes, so giving this a single pane of glass for users is going to be a big leverage point that GitLab offers as a single platform. Next up in our runner SaaS group, the team will be working on supporting best-in-class build speed on for runners on GitLab.com. We'll be doing this by offering more GCP compute machine types that'll be larger and also help deliver just faster outcomes. This will help enable our broader strategy of ensuring that GitLab SaaS can be best in class in speed. As we start to think about the use cases that this supports, I had a hard time putting this in one of our theme categories because this will also enable our data science team to deliver more workloads on GitLab.com. From our package group, in 16.1, we'll begin an effort on supporting another high requested feature related to Maven dependency proxy. This is really important for users who are interested in migrating away from Artifactory or even improving build times and reliability. The way this feature will work is that an admin will be able to proxy and cache binaries, images, or packages from an external Maven package repo to GitLab, helping just drive efficiency from the entire process. Under advanced security and compliance, our top focus for pipeline security team will be to ship improvements related to variable inheritance. One of these features is being able to group variables based off of how they are seen in the platform and how they trickle down through projects. It'll be very clear on who can access variables, who can use variables, and which projects are beginning to use or access those variables. This is by no means an exhaustive list or view of what Ops is working on, but a lot of great things are coming out of this. I'll pass it off to Melissa to cover dev.
Thanks, Jackie. I'm covering the dev section, which is comprised of manage, plan, and create. And I'm super excited to share what we're working on because there's a couple of items that have a high number of votes, which is always great to share when those are being delivered. The first one being the rich text editor experience rolling out across GitLab. If you've ever used issues and epics, you'll notice that editing text is done in Markdown today. But we're changing that experience to be what you see is what you get editing experience. This capability is currently available in NorWiki, but we're rolling it out more broadly. I'm going to put myself on the spot and do a live demo of my favorite thing about the new editor, which is you can add tables in a visual way. If you've ever added a table with Markdown, you'll know that's a little bit tricky. If you love editing Markdown, you can always switch back, but now you have the option to do rich text. This will be available across the board. We're dogfooding this feature, so I can see it now in comments, but you'll be able to see it in epic descriptions, issue descriptions, comments, etc. So be on the lookout for that. This aligns to our theme of best-in-class DevSecOps experience. The next feature that's aligned to that theme is being able to view and manage workspaces from the project repository view. If you haven't tried out the workspace feature, check it out, but now it's going to be more accessible. You can see here what it's going to look like, where you're going to be able to easily see what workspaces you have and be able to easily create another one. And be on the lookout for more iterations for this feature and future milestones. Now moving on to the theme of security and compliance. This is one of those, another one of those highly requested features, which is being able to sign commits that are made via the UI or automated commits like merge requests. This will allow organizations to basically turn on requiring all commits to be signed, because now you have a way to make that happen. And you can see there's a lot of interest. So I'm looking forward to the teams delivering this and making this available to y'all. Another feature that's aligned to security is around enterprise users. We have a version out there. It's unlocked significant value for SaaS customers that want more control over users that are created within their groups. And we're going to expand that capability to not only include users that are created via SCIM, but also being able to claim users that match your group's verified email domain. So for example, if you're an organization, you can verify that you own your company domain, and now any user that registers with that email can be managed by you. This gives you more insurance that you can basically know more about your users. And when a user is claimed, they'll get an email so that we can be transparent about basically who's managing that account. Another security feature is an MVC for service accounts. This is, again, one that has a significant amount of interest from y'all. There's multiple issues, but this one has 43 votes. And this is basically the ability to create a non-human, non-billable account for integration purposes. This helps with security because the alternative is either to use a person's account or a group or project access token, which high privilege and are difficult to audit. So now you can create a very specialized account that's just for integration purposes and have complete control over it. Moving on to the last theme of observability, analytics, and feedback. Again, iterating on one of the recent big launches, which is the Livestream dashboard. If you haven't tried it, go check it out. But in this milestone, we're going to be adding additional capabilities, starting with more metrics with MR throughput, and also the count of completed issues. So you can basically trend operational efficiency in your organization and see groups against each other, right? And like have a complete view instead of one by one. And the other thing that we are adding is last milestone, we added some configurability via YAML to know which groups and projects are being shown in the dashboard. And we're extending that to now be able to exclude certain metrics if something's not relevant to your organization, so you can see a very tailored view with the information that matters the most to you. So that's it for the dev section. I'm going to pass it over to David to close out the call.
Thanks, Melissa, and thank you to all the presenters. This was another great kickoff call. There's so many great things coming in 16.1. I'm not even going to try to highlight some because I like them all. What I will say is please check out the release kickoff page to get the full list of items that were presented. Please make sure to like and comment on the issues so you can engage with the product team. Again, a lot of fun things are coming here. I know people think it's fun when I say this, but I think this will be our best release ever. So looking forward to seeing 16.1, and thank you all for watching. Have a great day.